Oh.
There.
Hey everyone, can everybody hear me okay through the microphone? Okay, cool. My name is Matthew Taylor. I'm the Director of Services from Nterone, which is a professional services and education company. We do deployments worldwide as well as end user and architect, post-education services as well.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew. We're really excited to have you here, and I know you gave a great introduction, but can you tell us more about your team and your role and responsibility at Nterone?
Yeah, so my team is actually responsible for a couple things. We have to keep our infrastructure working for our classes. So that means we have to maintain a consistent user experience 24/7. We also deploy customer environments from enterprise SD-WAN all the way to data centers. So I also have a team of implementation engineers. So we manage and we also deploy as well.
Yeah, thank you. We're really excited to have you here. And can you give more details about your deployment at Nterone, like your deployment size, number of locations, etc.?
So our data centers, right now we have 3 data centers. So we have 2 data centers in North Carolina and data centers in Ottawa. Our primary challenges for our data center environments are we have legacy top of rack switches, 9Ks. And those are just top of rack for all of our infrastructure, which is all UCS, of course. But we have challenges in management. So right now, everything is CLI based. So we have collections of scripts for each switch to do this port configuration, that port configuration on that rack and on this other rack. Trouble is that if you're reliant upon those scripts, you're reliant upon multiple tools to make sure that your environment stays up. You run the wrong script against the wrong switch, all of a sudden you're running a class and you have to revert that back. So one of the great advantages and why we're rolling out NDFC is that I want to give those the lab team that I manage that consistent single experience in NDFC, as well as we're utilizing Terraform services as well. So we're making that journey into the consistent delivery, consistent innovation platform, instead of constantly worrying about how do we do individual port configurations? What switch do we run it on? We want to change to an intent model because it's going to save us time. And it's also going to save us money and give a better experience for our customers.
Yeah, and I know you touched upon this, but what were some of the other issues and challenges that you were seeing, with CLI prior to using either DCNM or NDFC in your deployment?
Well, we actually have in our data centers, we have 6 rows in one data center. We have another data center that has 12 rows. So of course we have that density in a top of rack switches. So where we do utilize CLI, we have to go in and look at that individual management interface, do the configurations on the switch. So what ends up happening is that we do have configuration drag. And in order to fix an issue, all of a sudden I've got switches in rack 1 that don't match the configuration in rack 6, even though they're running the same class. And because they're running 24/7, we don't get the ability to do the firmware upgrades or get deeper insights because we're looking at each individual switch. We're not looking at fabric.
Yeah, so
and that's where we want to get to.
It sounds like you were looking for a kind of a unified management platform that you can automate.
Yes, a unified management platform for provisioning, for maintenance, and for insights.
Yeah.
And that's why we chose NDFC.
Yeah, so was there any other reasons why NDFC kind of stood out to you compared to other options, and why you went with NDFC for your deployment?
Well, the integration with a couple things. The integration with Insights was huge for us. The ability to also deploy individual fabrics in all 3 of our data centers and manage it from a single pane of glass. Because in other solutions, you're still going to need to have an individual management or fabric interface for those fabric sites. So here I can look at all my sites holistically. I can also, using NDO, I can provision those sites. So now like for a standard class that we do, let's just talk about the education side. Everybody gets their own DCNM. Everybody gets their own switch stack, a spine, 2 leaves. They build at a BGP EVPN instance between the two. We have the ability now with NDFC to allow them to create 2 sites and to create connectivity between those 2 sites. So instead of going in, CLI here, there, it's a far better experience for our customers.
And how has your experience been deploying NDFC when it comes to managing infrastructure?
A lot easier than it was before, because I just specify intent. I don't have to go in and back up configurations and copy paste them and then copy paste it to the next switch. I can very easily, rapidly spin up additional resources when required, and then spin those down as well. So it's been a great booster of productivity for our lab environment.
Yeah, and what are some your main use cases that you're using NDFC? I know you mentioned integration with insights for in-depth visibility, but from an NDFC perspective, it'd be great if you could give an overview of the main use cases. So
our use cases are we run all of our compute infrastructure off 9Ks. So if I need to create a VLAN in a site 1, and then I want to stretch that VLAN to site 2. I can create the VLAN interfaces, create that tunnel between the 2 in NDFC. I don't have to go to a switch on each side. So that saves our lab team time, because then all we have to do is go into UCSX, add the VLAN at the port group, and away we go. So as new resources and new servers get added, we can very rapidly enable the ports and start using our infrastructure quicker than we could before.
And are you deploying VXLAN VPN or?
Yes, we're doing VXLAN between all 3 of our sites. So we're planning, further on, we're planning to have SD-WAN as well. But then VXLAN, yeah. And that's a running NXOS standalone version fits us better, because we just need top of row switches for our equipment. So that's definitely a great fit for us. And using NDFC to be able to manage it from a single planning class is great.
Are you guys primarily using the UI, or I know you mentioned Terraform?
So we are using the UI right now, but my goal is to utilize Terraform. We already use Terraform to provision our UCSX infrastructure within our site, but we do want to extend that to the underlying network fabric as well, because that way we can control the environment, we can prevent configuration drag, and we can provide a better experience. And my engineers don't have to go looking through scripts and folders to find the right one. That drives them crazy. Well, it actually probably drives me crazy more than it does them. But it's just, it's definitely where we're going.
And along those same lines, have you seen any other improvements or changes when you weren't implementing NDFC, or even between DCNM and NDFC?
So now I'm sorry, my mind's drawing a blank because I just got done talking in another one. The importance to have, and I think it's actually important that we know that this is actually called a platform. So it's not a manager of managers, because you could have a multiple DCNM manager manage multiple sessions of DCNM. But having Nexus Dashboard as a platform, as a management platform, provisioning and maintenance, all of those tasks are on a single platform. I don't have to, if I want to ingest services, I can do that. If I don't want to ingest or utilize those services, There's also other ways I can do that too. But the sheer fact of the matter is is definitely improving our operations.
And do you see any areas of improvement or anything, or how do you see this model expanding for Nterone in the future?
Okay, well, definitely cloud, right? So that's that's something. But generally, for what we're running in the use cases right now, this is a great tool for what we're doing to manage our local data center infrastructure. Because my use case may not fit everybody's use case. Because I'm not a fintech company, I'm not a hospital. I am worried about latency. So I definitely care about running insights. So those are the actual services that I'm using. So it definitely fits what we're doing.
Yeah, so you're running Fabric Controller and you also integrate with the Nexus Dashboard Insights. Are you planning on using NDO in the future?
Yes, definitely.
So for like hybrid cloud, which is on our roadmap.
Yes. Yeah, definitely, because we do want to extend capability to the cloud for burst services as well. So that's definitely part of our roadmap right now.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell the audience before we close out the interview?
Check us out at Nterone.com. Thank you for letting me share my story, because I've taught this audience and a lot of audiences like us for the past 10 years. So I understand that you're either customers or you're representing customers, and you want to make sure that you have the absolute best solution, and you want to have the knowledge to be able to back up that solution, and that's how I operate on a daily basis. And I just want to thank you, Ekshai, for letting me share my story.
Yeah, of course. And I know you mentioned that you're a learning partner, so maybe this might be an opportunity to maybe talk about like what offerings that you have for NDFC as well.
Sure. So certainly we are one of the first platinum learning partners ever. And as a matter of fact, the chairman of our company was the first Cisco certified systems instructor. He was the first CCSI. So we operate worldwide 24/7 in all markets, do remote in-person teaching as well as our professional services organization, in which we enable partners or end user customers to implement their solutions, all the way from SD-WAN to data center. We cover about every single use case: IoT, Umbrella, Meraki, Nexus, Catalyst, you name it, we cover it.
Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story with the audience. If everyone can help me give a round of applause to Matthew.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. So I think thank you all for coming to the session. I think that's all we have for